Welcome back to the Skin Art J YouTube channel. My name is Alana, and I'm here with the tattoo artist herself, Jay. Thanks for having me, Jay.
Thanks for bringing me on.
So we have a quote for the day. Nothing makes a woman more beautiful than the belief that she is beautiful. And that was said by the beautiful Sophia Loren. How do you feel about that quote, Jay?
I would say that's accurate. The confidence that someone instills in themselves and carries with them, regardless of the acceptance of outside approval, I would say speaks volumes to how it attracts people together and how someone holds themselves.
So the statistic for today is all personal service operators must notify Alberta Health Services Environmental Public Health of tattooing services that they offer. This is the public health step that triggers inspections and ensure that a tattoo studio is completely compliant and doing things in the proper and healthy way. And your skin is an open doorway during a tattoo. That means hygiene is not nice to have. It is imperative. It has to be there. We will cover sterilization, single-use needles, proper barriers, surface disinfection, and how artists prevent cross-contamination right from the beginning, before setup to the aftercare of the tattoo. So if you have sensitive skin, a medical condition, or you're getting work in a high movement area, this matters even more. And in the end, everyone watching this video will know how to choose a tattoo studio that protects your health, and so that your artwork is going to be as beautiful as you envisioned it on the day of your consultation. So let's get into it. Jay, how do you prevent cross-contamination from the moment a client walks into your tattoo studio?
There's multiple steps that we do take currently at the studio before anyone even arrives. More often than not, there is quite a few of us showing up, and we are sterilizing the studio with making sure, that we wash our hands to start the day, to then sterilizing all the stainless steel, cleaning the floors, cleaning the beds, setting up prior to people coming through. So there's already that practice in play that is ensuring that everything is ready to go and sterilized before a client even comes through that door.
Excellent. Are all needles, cartridges, and razor blades single use and opened in front of your clients?
Every single time, yeah. I will commonly pour inks first before I go and grab needles. And even with pouring inks, more often than not, I am waiting for that client to show up to ensure that they can see how I'm going about my practice and get to see how I'm pouring everything. Essentially, if I am touching any bottles or if I'm touching any needles of any sort, it's A, washed hands, and B, you're gonna glove up. Make sure that there's no risk that there's even a potential that can happen with cross-contamination, and then showing them that we are grabbing from a sterile area that only allows artists to touch.
Excellent. So how many times do you think you wash your hands in the course of getting a tattoo ready to go?
I honestly don't count. I know it's enough that my skin needs extra moisturizer to lock in, because more often than not, my hands are cracking or drying out. So I'd say, depending on the session and how many times I also have to stop during the session, at least 10.
Wow, that's a lot. I know that you had mentioned the tattoo convention in Calgary and how people were surprised how many times they saw you at the hand washing station. But I would think that that's a really good sign.
I would agree, because I guess getting recognized that I'm hygienic is not a bad thing by any means. But yeah, more often than not, I was up at the station washing my hands before every start to anything. And then after a tattoo, once again, washing my hands and making sure that there's just no possibility that there can be any issue.
What sterilization method is used for reusable tools? And do you keep autoclave logs and spore test results?
I have been in studios in the past that have had autoclaves and had to track the spore testing and make sure it's documented month to month of making sure that the machine's running properly and that everything is completely sanitized. We don't have that practice so much at the current location because everything is single use and it's already pre-sterilized before we get to accessing it. So we have leaned into more of the single use and more of the function that runs with our newer machines, though the process with the previous one usually was with a single bar needle, which was also still disposed after each use. But we'd have stainless steel tubes and you'd have to scrub that first, and then you'd be running it through the autoclave and make sure that everything came back absolutely okay with the sterilization strips. If not, you once again clean it and send it back through, and until that test comes out positive, it doesn't see a client again. So there is tools that are reusable that can be autoclaved, and they're stainless steel so that they're not porous and they don't absorb any of the bacteria that's going to be there. That being stated, we have gone to now a point that we're moving more away from it and we're using more of the single use for A, the convenience, and B, the upkeep of having those expensive machines and the time that you use to make sure that everything is set in place.
Right. When you have single-use equipment, then you know it's sterilized, it's in a package, you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Like it already shows us that it's sterilized. It has its batch number, so if anything is to come, the manufacturing, so example, if we were to use Helios needles or Quadron or Deli North, there is already the accountability there with having the batch numbers and stating that these have been sterilized and they're good for use.
Excellent. I had no idea that sterilization had so many steps and so many requirements. That's really reassuring.
I would say so. It at least gives you a peace of mind knowing that you're not having that risk, because I have had a few clients that have come in and they've had bad experiences. They've done in-house stuff. So then they're weary and they're coming to us and they're like, you guys aren't reusing it and stuff. And it's like, if you're stepping into a studio and they're willing to reuse a needle they've used on someone else, I'm going to politely say run. That's simple as I can state, is just run.
That's great advice. You know that you're not dealing with a quality studio if they're willing to reuse anything.
Not if they can't ensure that it's sterilized, and especially if it's a single-use cartridges that more often than not that we have gone towards and they're trying to reuse that. There's a lot of risk there, and I'm just going to say it's not worth it.
Good to know. All right, great advice. What about gloves? How often do you change gloves in a tattoo, and what actions actually require those gloves to be changed?
So there's quite a few. Usually on average, they say 30 minutes of stuff. Not going to say that I follow precisely to 30 minutes, but more often than not, with little breaks or any time that I have to deglove so I can touch something else or deal with something else, such as answering a phone or having to grab new inks or anything like that, you're degloving and you're washing your hands and then you're regloving with completely new stuff. As soon as it's touched anything that is involved with the client that is open wound and has now engaged with their skin, it's off the table.
And what barriers protect machines, clip cords, bottles, and furniture during a session?
So we have bed sheets that we use, or drape sheets as they're more well known as, to cover the beds. We have the clip cord sleeves. We have machine bags. We use the Sensi wrap. There's a couple of different ways that people set up their machines depending on what they need to use to make sure that there's a barrier between your hands and that machine. So anything that's gonna properly protect it. So it is the clip cord, it's the machine bag, the wash bottles. We have specific wash bottle bags for it. Anything that's gonna create that barrier between so that it does not get absorbed.
And do different tattoo machines require different kind of covers and ways to protect the client?
Certain ones, yes. Some people have, example, if you have a power supply, there is a barrier film that you can put over top of it so that you're not directly touching the screen. I'm using the pen instead, so I don't have the power supply with all the cords. So instead I have the barrier where it's for the machine bag instead. It all depends on which machine you're using. So whatever's best suitable to fit around that machine to protect it properly.
Excellent. I had no idea there was all of the things to think about. Another reason why you should go to a quality shop.
If you're seeing someone not wear gloves or they don't have their machines protected and there's stuff like that, I'd be questioning it.
Which disinfectant is used on surfaces, and is the proper contact time actually followed?
Commonly, it's Cavicide. That's the more versatile one that is just standard practice. There is ones that are very similar to Cavicide and it can clean it. I can't quite remember the name of the product at the moment, but I know it is an alternative option where it's not as harsh on your machines and everything else with breaking it down over time. Usually it's, I believe, a minute and a half that has to sit on that surface. And I would say, yes, it is followed because you want that surface to be sterilized. And if it's not, then there's still a little concern there with people's patience and stuff. So example, while people are doing or dealing with other things, they could spray the surface, walk away, deal with other things, and then come back and wipe that surface up.
So another thing that clients can look out for if they're going for a consultation in a tattoo studio, that if these practices aren't being followed, maybe choose another studio.
Yeah. If they're not seeing proper cleanly practices and they're noticing that people are, example, touching dirty gloves. So anything, once again, that has already touched that client while they've opened their skin and stuff, and then are touching, example, their phones or remotes or their tablets, I would be a little weary about their cross-contamination practices, because any surface that you have now touched with that dirty glove is now a hot spot with all the bacteria.
How are inks handled? Do you have single-use caps? Do you avoid backfilling? And are they discarded after each client?
So we do have single-use caps. It's the only time that you should see it being used is completely clean and set out for the client. It never should you ever see it go back, because I have questions for them once again. And then with using ink bottles, being gloved up so that you're not touching it barehanded, taking a paper towel and twisting off the top, pouring your ink, and then retwisting the top with that paper towel that is clean. If you are having to re-pour during a session, being very careful and mindful that you are not too close to the cross-contaminated area. Do not be putting it on the same station that has everything. I have seen some artists do that. I don't agree with that at all, because you have now introduced it to, once again, environment that does have all the cross-contamination, and they are in plastic bottles, which plastic is absorbent with bacteria. So I wouldn't agree putting it on the tray itself. With our studio, we have it in cabinets so that it's away from everything else. It has closed doors, so that gives it extra barriers. And then when we're pulling it out, as soon as we're done pouring, it goes right back into where it was, so that you know it's in a safe space that is clear of any cross-contamination.
That's a lot of steps for ink, and a good peace of mind for people, I think.
I'd agree. I've seen different practices with different people, and each to their own. I just think it's better safe than sorry to try to introduce any inks or any bottles to an area that you know is already off limits.
And how is skin prep handled? What's the protocol, and what is the application for the tattoo stencil transfer? How is that handled?
So once again, gloving up, make sure that you're prepared for that. Then cleaning their skin with a skin cleaner. There is a cleanse that you can get from Deadly North that we have used before. To also, there's green soap that we put into our wash bottles and our distilled water. and we can use that for part of cleaning the skin. And also I commonly use isopropyl just to make sure that I'm completely clearing any bacteria that might be there and making sure it's cleaned, and then shaving the area, placing the stencil with, I want to say stencil goo. That's the first thing that comes to mind is stencil goo. And then placing the stencil. Sometimes, more often than not, I do take a few times to place it where I want to see it. That just happens to be my practice. I'm very picky on how it lines up on the body. And then from there, letting it dry, and then continue the process of getting the sterile needles and the inks.
Wow, that's quite a process, but a really good peace of mind for people to know that it will be handled well right after the tattoo is ready to be put on. You're still following protocols.
Following protocols from the time that they get through that door to the time that they're exiting.
Wonderful. And how are sharps and biohazard waste stored, labeled, and disposed of?
So we have sharps bins that we get ordered to us. It is a yellow container. It says biohazard right on it. There is a safety mechanism that once it's full, we just have to close it and it clicks and it locks everything in. And then we have a box that we put these sharps into so that it's out of reach. Once it's full enough, we call the company that we need to. They come take it away, and then they give us some more.
And so all of the sharps are never disposed of in a garbage can?
Oh, no. That's, once again, too risky. Way too risky.
And a way that you can tell clients that your shop is doing the right things, if they go into another shop and they see tattoo needles in the garbage, that's a sign of keep walking.
Very much so. It's a sign of negligence and a lack of responsibility.
And finally, what training do artists and staff have in bloodborne pathogens in first aid, and how often is that training renewed?
So with the new protocols that some of the conventions are requesting of us, there are some sites that they have advised for us to take our training from. I just recently got mine from Pro Training, and it requests that we do it every year, which I don't disagree with, because it allows us to refresh our memories and it allows us to continue to learn about anything new that might come up. I have liked this website for the fact that I do get notifications of any updates or any new information that they're trying to provide to help expand the knowledge of what to look for and how to best take care of things. So often, depending on which site that they're seeing, the one I took before was a 3-year card that allowed me to have my Protect for all of the bloodborne pathogens. This one's requiring a year, so it just depends on the site that they're using, and then also if they are attending conventions, which convention requests what kind of training they want from them.
Right. Excellent. And so when you offer in-house consultations with your potential clients, not only is it a check to make sure that the artwork that they want is something that jives with you, that they enjoy the atmosphere, but also it's a great opportunity for a client to make sure that things are safe and practiced well.
Very much so. I actually recently had a client stop by the studio. I wasn't present for that time, but they wanted to just stop by to check it out before booking with me, and they kind of got the taste of the environment, see what kind of jived with them, if it jives, and it has now become a great experience for them where they are thrilled to come back and they got to see that everything is as it should be.
So yeah, the consultation is a great time for both parties to get to know one another. And if it's not a fit for any reason, if they walk into a tattoo studio that's not doing safe practices, they can choose to go elsewhere, like to Skin Art J.
Very much so.
Excellent. Thanks again for tuning in. If you have any questions about hygiene and tattoos that you would like Jay to answer, please leave a comment and Jay will address it either in the comment thread on YouTube or in a future video. Please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so that you can see all of the new content the moment it comes out. Thanks, Jay. I really appreciate your expertise.